as we heal, we learn to unstick ourselves from the traumatized state or identity that we've sort of rooted within. And as we do that, something that's really common to happen is that we swing very far in the other direction. So it's almost like we've been stuck in a place for so long, and the moment we sort of get ourselves out of it, we go in at a very extreme, different direction. And as we heal, we learn to find equilibrium. So it's a bit like the pendulum swinging and eventually finding stillness. And that's when we find who we are without all our trauma, without all our pain, and without all the, I guess, intense energy that comes with trying to get out of it and recreate ourselves. So in the end, we want to get to a place where we feel like pretty gently rooted in our center and not experiencing these extreme highs or lows anymore. So an example of how this can manifest, for example, might be just say we've been really disconnected from our voice and we haven't been able to speak up or set boundaries or ask to have our needs met. And the moment we reconnect to our voice, all of a sudden we're sort of shouting out to the world saying, this is who I am and you better respect me and here are my boundaries, and it can be really intense. And as we heal, we learn, well, yes, my voice is free, but I don't need to assert myself so much. So we end up finding sort of a bit more stability and peace in our voice. That's just one of the ways our healing pendulum can swing. And the swing's really important. The process is really important. And the first step is to unstick ourselves from wherever we've kind of rooted or been stuck or identified from the trauma. And so this somatic practice is called honoring the healing pendulum, and it's actually to allow your body to experience this sense of movement and swaying and pendulating and finding stillness. So for this exercise, we're going to be on hands and knees and learning to find this really nice rock in the body and in the spine from side to side, and playing with not only how big the arc of our pendulum is, but the speed, and then also the ability to bring ourselves in and to settle again. This practice is very simple, but it can evoke quite a response, particularly if we have been sort of quite stuck in the experiences or felt very afraid to express ourselves differently. So just notice if it feels too confronting, and if it does, it's okay to just stay with very, very, very gentle movements, or to come back to the softening the shell exercise first. It's also really nice to then end with the softening the shell exercise, because once we unstick ourselves and we have this movement, there's also the ability to soften. So these two exercises are really nice to pair in tandem, and you can feel into which one you sort of need or are called to on any given day, depending on what you're going through. So the affirmation from the book that we're going to pair with this is, I allow my healing pendulum to swing. I welcome my authentic process towards equilibrium. In the end, that's the goal, right? Equilibrium, harmony, peace. So for this one, come up onto your hands and knees. If you're a yoga person, you know, a bit of a cat-cow position, and just get really comfortable. Find the space or the width that feels right for you. And literally we're going to be learning to just change the weight from side to side, from the left to the right, left to the right. And so if it feels safe, you can close your eyes for this practice, and I'm going to guide us. So just taking a moment to explore what it's like to shift your weight from side to side, from left to right, right to left. Notice if it feels easeful, awkward, challenging, beautiful. How does it feel to you to access this gentle movement? See what it's like to engage your entire spine, and notice how the movement gets a little bigger and there's a bit more of a curvature of the body. And notice if that feels safe or confronting, difficult or beautiful. And see what it's like to lean as far to one side as you can while keeping your feet and knees and hands on the ground. And then again in the other direction, going as far as you can. What is it like to extend your range of motion? What is it like to play with speed? Can you go faster or slower? And what is it like to bring in the arc of your movement to a much smaller arc? What is it like to try moving your head as part of the process? Just stay in this process, exploring your pendulum and connecting to the affirmation, I allow my healing pendulum to swing. I welcome my authentic process towards equilibrium. And just take your time to be with that and to eventually bring your movements to a very nice, contained, gentle space. Finding stillness. And if you like, you can then naturally just come back into the softening the shell position. And just see what it's like now that you've freed up your pendulum. Can you find a little bit more space for softness?